Hello, good morning, and welcome to this exciting day to talk about businesses all around the world. It's Business 360, and my name is Blyden Okem. In Business 360 today, we'll be looking at some of the top stories in the world of business. According to early morning reports, the German GDP stalled in the second quarter of 2023, below forecast of a 0.1% growth, and after a contraction in each of the previous two quarters that pushed the economy into a technical recession. Meanwhile, the French economy grew 0.5% higher than forecast of a 0.1% rise, while GDP growth in Spain slowed to 0.4% from 0.5% as expected. Let's begin a conversation looking at global growth halts. China-US reports poor sales numbers in July. The threat of global recession in the second half of 2023 has returned as July sales manager survey data shows the USA and China both trading water as interest rate pressures mounts. The Indian economy continues to grow, but is much smaller than the two mega engines of the USA and China that have propelled global economic activity so far and so fast for so long. The three over the past decade, so the steady recovery from COVID has been good news for many. However, growth overall has been modest in 2023 to date, particular sectors and countries. In Africa, Zanzibar, an island nation known for its tourist attraction, is looking to diversify its economic options by commissioning a handful of information and technology projects through the Zanzibar ICT Infrastructure Agency, ZICSA. Initiatives include establishing an international gateway from Mombasa, constructing a data center, and creating a digital free zone to attract tech investments. ZICSA aims to develop a cyber metropolis, providing a digital platform for major corporations to invest in and bolstering the growth of the digital IT industry. In Uganda, despite massive pressure from a number of rights and environmental conditioning from organizations, Total Energies said it has begun digging oil wells in Uganda. Total Energies began drilling oil wells in Uganda's Murchison Fall National Park. The $10 billion deal with the Chinese National Offshore Oil Corporation, CNOOC, aims to develop Ugandan oil fields and transport petroleum to Tanzania's port through a 1,445-kilometer pipeline. Environmental groups raised concerns about the impact on the park and nearby communities, while Total Energies defend its use of sustainable technology and claims to have provided fair compensation to affected communities. In Nigeria, the Vice President Kashim Shettima has restated the determination of the Bola Tinubu administration to revive the Aluminium Smelter Company of Nigeria, Alscan, Ikorobasi, Akwa Ibom State, particularly by engaging with key stakeholders in the industry. Mr. Shettima stated this on Thursday at a meeting with the management of Russian aluminium company UC Rusal and other stakeholders in the projects on the sideline of the ongoing Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg, Russia. The meeting with the stakeholders was in furtherance of the efforts by the federal government to reactivate production lines at Alscan by re-engaging with UC Rusal and other partners in the resuscitation of the plants. In Akwa Ibom, Governor Umoino of Akwa Ibom State has unveiled a RISE agenda with visionary plan aimed at propelling the state's socio-economic growth and transforming the lives of its citizens. The launch, which served as a culmination of a week-long series of activities organized by the state government, was attended by prominent leaders, including the former Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udoma Udo Udoma, and the immediate past governor of the state, Mr. Udom Emmanuel. Addressing a diverse audience, the governor expressed his commitment to achieving global best economic practices are democratic practices in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. He emphasized that our RISE agenda has been crafted to address the challenges faced by the states. Let's find out more.
Wear this toga. Apart from the national flag or national pin, Akwa Ibom state pin, I'd wear our Rotary pin, but wear this toga. If I see you try to go from that and be promoting yourself, then you are working against us. I will not hesitate to make you go immediately. We must be very disciplined in this state. And I'm going to lead by example. Up until yesterday, if you saw me anywhere, you see the Dakada badge, wearing it, because I believed in it. Let's let this message go round. Take it to our schools, talk to them. And please, if any memo is going to come to my table, end up that memo by showing me the part of the RISE agenda that memo is addressing, so that we can have a clear understanding.
It's a new chapter in Akwa Ibom State, the RISE agenda, still in Nigeria. The management of Dangote Refinery has debunked a report published on the online platforms of some media organizations that the company employed 11,000 skilled workers from India, while allegedly neglecting youth from Nigeria and other African countries. Reacting to the publications, the group's chief branding and communication officer, Anthony Chejina, said the report was written with malicious intent as it did not reflect the number of skilled Nigerians on the site. He said, the magnitude of the project required a specialized skilled workforce from all over the world, and that while over 30,000 Nigerians were engaged among the skilled workers, at the peak of construction in the refinery complex, 6,400 Indians and 3,250 Chinese workers were among the skilled workers. Now to the Corporate Affairs Commission. The Corporate Affairs Commission has said it will remove 100,000 registered companies from its database soon. During a training on use of beneficiary ownership register in Lagos, the Registrar General and Chief Executive Officer, CAC, Alhaji Gaba Abubakar, disclosed the Commission's intention. According to him, 100,000 companies that failed to file annual returns in the last 10 years were due to be struck off by the Corporate Affairs. Talking about businesses in Nigeria still, EcoBank's financial reports. The group operating expenses of EcoBank Transnational Incorporated rose to $563 million in the first half of 2023, representing an 11% increase when compared to figures recorded during the same period in 2022. The bank disclosed this in its half-year financial report released on Thursday. According to reports, key drivers of the expense increase were costs associated with the card businesses, insurance, IT licenses and related technical fees, and other administrative expenses. However, the rise in operating expenses was offset by higher revenues, helping drive an improvement in the cost-to-income ratio to 54.3% compared to 56% in the prior year. It would be a good time to go on a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at global economy. Expected data releases for today, Friday, July 28, 2023. Don't go anywhere. Welcome. It's Business 360. My name is Blyden Ukem. We'll be looking at the economic calendar and economic statistics all around the world, beginning with expected data releases for today, Friday, July 28, 2023. The economic calendar next. According to businesses and analyses, indications have shown that a positivity in the interest rate decisions all around the world for different standings, but looking at Japanese inflation rates. As at 4 a.m. in the morning, Bank of Japan interest rate decision came out. It came out at a negative 0.1%, and previous standing was negative 0.1%, and the forecast was still projected at 0.1% negative. Further, around 6:30 a.m. in the morning, GDP growth rates quarter on quarter, according to preliminary estimates in the second quarter for France, came out at 0.5%. And previous standings was a revised rate of 0.1%. The forecast was 0.1%, but indicating improvement in the rating. Also, GDP growth rates year on year, according to preliminary estimates for second quarter, was at 0.9% in the outing at 6:30 a.m. Previous standing was 0.9% still. Further in the day, let's look at the standings of further economic data and its relativity in the day. As at 9 a.m. today, GDP growth rates quarter on quarter, the flash estimates came out at 0.0% in the second quarter in Germany. Previous standing was at negative 0.1%, indicating improvement. A forecast indicated 0.3%, but could not meet up to the forecast. As at 9 a.m. in the morning, GDP growth rates year on year flash for second quarter came out at 0.2% on the negative, similar to previous standings. Subsequently in the afternoon, inflation standings would be out. We can look at it. Let's look at economic standings in the US. US GDP growth. The US economy expanded an annualized 2.4% in the second quarter, higher than 2% in the previous period and way above the market estimates of 1.8%. Business investment surged and consumer spendings beat expectations as inflation eased, but the labor market remained tight. To the Eurozone. The European Central Bank, ECB, raised interest rates by 25 basis points today, a ninth consecutive rate hike, saying inflation is still expected to remain too high despite the recent slowdown. This brought the rates on main refinancing operations to 4.25%, the highest since October 2008, and the rate on deposit facility to an over 22-year high of 3.75%. Since the commencement of the central bank's tightening cycle in July 2022, ECB officials have implemented an unprecedented 425 basis point increase in rates, marking the fastest tightening pace in its history. ECB's President Christine Lagarde says the central bank expects euro area inflation to continue to decline this year. Let's hear and find out more from the President of ECB, Christine Lagarde.
Inflation continues to decline, but is still expected to remain too high for too long. We are determined to ensure that inflation returns to our 2% medium-term target in a timely manner. The Governing Council, therefore, today decided to raise the three key ECB interest rates by 25 basis points. The rate increase today reflects our assessment of the inflation outlook, the dynamics of underlying inflation, and the strength of monetary policy transmission. The developments since our last meeting support our expectation that inflation will drop further over the remainder of the year, but will stay above target for an extended period. While some measures show signs of easing, underlying inflation remains high overall. Our past rate increases continue to be transmitted forcefully. Financing conditions have tightened again and are increasingly dampening demand, which is an important factor in bringing inflation back to target. Our future decisions will ensure that the key ECB interest rates will be set at sufficiently restrictive levels for as long as necessary to achieve a timely return of inflation to our 2% medium-term target. We will continue to follow a data-dependent approach to determining the appropriate level and duration of restriction. In particular, our interest rate decisions will continue to be based on our assessment of the inflation outlook in light of the incoming economic and...
That's the standing from ECB President Christine Lagarde regarding interest rates in the Eurozone. Let's talk about the commodity market now, beginning with grain markets. November soybean futures closed slightly lower yesterday in an outside reversal downlay. Ted Seyfried explains this. Let's hear from Ted Seyfried.
November soybeans closed sharply lower after an outside reversal down day. We did not make new contract highs for the November soybean contract, so I don't see this as a key reversal. It doesn't fit that definition by my standards. Some people might suggest that. Either way, outside reversal down days a lot of times are seen as rather bearish candles on a bar chart. The other thing is soybeans have tried to close above 14.25 4 of the last 7 sessions and have failed to do so. The closest being 14.24.5. We've gotten well above 14.25, but not managed to close up there. So this makes us wonder, are soybeans getting ready for a correction after the $3 plus rally that we've seen since the end of May? That rally being fueled by some warm and dry conditions affecting the crop, but then also 4 million acres less soybeans planted than what was originally intended to plant. So we could have a fairly tight balance sheet, but all of that really depends on what happens in August. August weather is always the most...
That's the outlook from Ted Seyfried regarding the grains market. Let's move to the market this morning, what the standings are for soybeans and the rest of agricultural market this morning. The agricultural market first. And afterwards, we'll look at the industrial market and metal and energy market, the agricultural market. According to statistics from the agricultural market, indication in the morning market shows that soybeans price dropped by 22 points, a negative 1.44% decline, while wheat dropped a negative 1.44% decline. Price for soybeans is $1,510 US per bushel. US dollars per bushel. Palm oil 88 points, 3,988 Malaysian ringgit per ton of palm oil. Now to the industrial markets. Looking at the standings in the industrial morning, it begins with bitumen. Current price for bitumen is 3,881 Chinese yuan per ton, dropping just 1 point, a negative 0.03% decline. For cobalt, no significant difference in the market. $33,480 US per ton is the price of cobalt. For lead is gaining 14.75 points, $2,155 US per ton. Aluminium similarly gaining 1.5 points. Tin doing quite well in the morning market, gaining 1 point. Current price for tin is $29,010 US per ton. Now to the other market, the metal market. Looking at the standings for gold, silver, copper, and the rest. Metal market, beginning with gold, indicates positivity of 3.62 points. Market is moving quite fast. A 0.18% appreciation. $1,948 US per ounce is the price of gold. Silver is a little here, little there. Copper, same story. For steel dropping this morning by 12 points, a negative 0.32% decline. Current price for steel is 3,763 Chinese yuan per ton. Now let's look at the energy market. The price for the energy market is conspicuous because it's showing some negativity despite the fact that the volatility in the market is quite low. Crude oil, US crude, is $79 US per barrel, dropping 0.35 points, a negative 0.43% decline. Brent, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, has dropped slightly this morning, a 0.33% point decline, a negative 4% decline. $83 US per barrel is the price of Brent. The rest of the derivatives of crude are a little here, little there. Natural gas, gasoline, heating oil, as well as coal. No significant difference in the morning market. Let's talk about the foreign exchange market. The Japanese yen appreciated 139 per dollar, hitting its strongest level in over 2 weeks, following reports that the Bank of Japan will discuss adjusting its yield curve and control policy at its July meeting to allow long-term interest rates to rise above a 0.5% cap by a certain degree. Markets have been speculating for months that the last major central bank to retain a dovish position could finally cave, as persistent inflation and rising global interest rates put constant pressure on Japan's bond yields and currency. Investors now await the Bank of Japan's policy decision and further commentary to guide the market outlook. Let's listen to Todd Colvin regarding the FX market as the euro sinks below 1.1 level yesterday.
Moves lower on Thursday, despite the fact that the ECB raised rates 25 basis points. Yes, that was expected. And yes, it follows yesterday's rate hike by the Fed. But ultimately, the outlook now looks a little bit more uncertain. Prior to this week, we had heard from certain ECB officials about the idea that they were going to maintain and leave the door open to more hikes. Now, while that still is possible, the messaging we got was a little more balanced, whereas on the Fed side, now things are starting to look a little bit different as GDP came in strong today, pushing the dollar higher. So a much stronger dollar today pushes the euro lower, back below the 110 level, and its lowest since July 10th, getting down to 109.66. Again, ending lower today for the euro. Now, what does this mean for volatility? Well, check out that CVOL index over.
Is the standings regarding the euro and the performances in the market yesterday. Let's move to the market this morning and see what the performances would be this morning. The euro against the US dollar, and afterwards, Naira's perspective against the majors. The euro against the US dollar, a price level is 1.09, dropping from the 1.1 mark points, a drop of 0.00125 points, a slight decline this morning for the euro against the US dollar. For the pound is gaining slightly, but at a point of 1.28 mark. The Aussie against the US dollar also showing some lack of volatility in the market. 0.664 is the point mark. Now to Naira. Naira's perspective against the majors. US dollar against the Naira keeps the pairing price at 774 Naira to $1. For the euro to Naira, at the close of yesterday's market, the Naira gained a whopping 13 points over the euro, indicating negativity for the euro, negative 13.64 points, a negative 1.56 percentage decline. 859 Naira equaling €1 for the pound to the Naira. Our current price is 999 Naira to £1, gaining 19 points over the pound, as the pound declined at a negative 1.94 percentage points. Let's move to the black market and see what the standings of the black market is this morning regarding Naira against the majors. Well, in the black market, the Naira still struggles against the dollar. 872 Naira equaling $1 at the buying rate, and selling rate 865 Naira to the dollar. The pound to Naira is at a price of 1,175 Naira to £1 at the buying rate, and selling rate 1,156 Naira to a pound. The euro to Naira is at 995 Naira equaling €1, and 940 Naira equaling €1 at the selling rate. Now to the digital coin, Bitcoin. Bitcoin has gained 10 points this morning. $29,149 is the price of one Bitcoin. A slight gain in the morning market, 0.03% appreciation. Ether is the same story, gaining 5.1 points this morning. Binance 2.9 points gain. But it's a struggle for the likes of Solana and Ripples. But the market, it's fair for the digital coin this morning. So quickly, let's look at the Nigerian stock market at the closure of the market yesterday. The equity capitalization in the Nigerian capital market crashed by 0.31% at a close of trading on Thursday. This represented a 111.14 billion naira dip in the value of investment at the capital market, from 35.74 trillion naira to 35.63 trillion naira after 5 hours of trading. Regarding the performance of market indices yesterday, the benchmark All-Share Index shed 204.25 basis points to close at 65,482.91 points. Investors traded 509.24 million shares, valued at 4.79 billion naira in 8,070 deals. Let's talk about the top gainers. Lasako Assurance topped the gainers after gaining 19 kobo to move from 1 naira 90 kobo to 2 naira and 9 kobo per share. The bottom losers. Japol Gold and Ventures topped the losers table after shedding 11 kobo to drop from 1 naira 11 kobo to 1 naira per share. The top volume now. Japol Gold and Ventures led the day's trading with 116 million shares valued at 129.72 million naira. Here we draw the curtain on today's edition of Business 360. Thank you for watching. My name is Blyden Ukem.